This is 5 Minute Feng Shui podcast episode 157, Feng Shui Thanksgiving. Welcome to the 5 Minute Feng Shui podcast, where each week I talk about how to move energy and make money. You'll learn how to create a prosperous home and an abundant life using classical Chinese Feng Shui. I'm your host, Katie Weber, publisher of the Red Lotus Letter, Feng Shui Easing for Wealth. Each week, I'll cover Feng Shui topics that can help you improve your life, share inspiring stories, and always end with 3 easy-to-implement Feng Shui tips that you can put to work right away, and usually in about 5 minutes. Now let's get started on the 5 minutes that could change your life. Hey, my Feng Shui friend, it's Katie, and it's a Saturday in the evening. And I've been at my desk a long time working on the Year of the Tiger Success Pack. It's been a lot of fun. It's a lot of stress. It's a lot of work. And I tell you what, I could not do it without my partner in life and my podcast sound man, mixer extraordinaire, and my husband, Tim Scholl. He is here with me today in my studio, otherwise known as my desk. And we're talking about him. We're going to talk about Feng Shui. We're going to talk about Thanksgiving. This is going to be a completely extemporaneous episode of 5 Minute Feng Shui because I thought, this is about family. It's about inviting people in at Thanksgiving. It's being grateful. I'm just getting choked up talking about it. It does. It makes me feel choked up. And I'm here with the guy that chokes me up. He doesn't choke me, just chokes me up. Anyway, Tim, can you say hi?
Hi, everybody out there in 5 Minute Feng Shui land. Nice to meet you.
Hey, it really is. You're part of my Feng Shui family. You're part of my family. That's how I look at it. I don't, put you in a little box over there. And, Tim and I always feel really grateful. We try to focus on what's working versus what's not working and address what's not working. But this time of year, we thought, hey, why don't the two of us talk today? Because Tim mixes all of the episodes of 5 Minute Feng Shui. I threw him into it when we moved to Mexico.
And if I was going to give anybody advice out there, Katie goes, here, you're going to do this, figure it out. I don't know what I'm doing. And then she said, you know what? It's called YouTube. You can figure it out. And here we are 157 episodes later. And
Yeah,
I guess
3
we figured
years.
it out, haven't we? Or I figured it out.
You totally did.
Yeah.
You totally
So.
did. But it's this week. It's so special in my heart. And I love it so much. It's the holiday that, it's some work involved. But it's work around the table, and that's where everybody gets along. Usually, sometimes not. But in general, anytime you have good food in front of folks, it's a good time, and it's a holiday that I'm really proud of as an American because it really puts our focus on what we're thankful for, and I think that's a really big thing in Feng Shui. What do you think about being grateful, Tim?
I think so. I think it's very important. I mean, I like what you're saying too about the kitchen, Katie, because I remember not to go out on a limb and bring sex into it right away, but Dr. Ruth Westheimer, the sex therapist, said, the 2 most important rooms in the house are, the master bedroom, which is because if things aren't working in there, they're just not working. But she says the second most important room in anybody's house is the kitchen.
Preach.
And because everybody gets in there, everybody talks. That's the gathering place for parties and, festivities like Thanksgiving and Christmas. And that's where people usually end up having the best conversations with neighbors and friends, in the kitchen.
You're nourished there.
You are.
On a lot of levels.
Yeah, feeds your soul, feeds your stomach, feeds your eyes, feeds everything, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. And this holiday always feels, it feels so good to do because there's not a big fuss and it's really about just being grateful and I love that. And I love that holiday. And I wish I could have everybody come over. Could you come over? Just come over. Because I make really good pecan pie. Tell him, Tim.
Oh, OMG. I can't, I got to keep it clean
That's
on this.
me.
I can't cuss on this, can
That's
I?
OMP.
But
Oh,
it's,
my pecan.
yeah.
OMPP.
Oh, it's the best pecan pie in the world. It really is. The secret dark Kara syrup. Full halves of pecans,
Yeah,
never
none
chopped.
of this, no,
Never chopped.
never chopped
gotta-
pecans ever.
Ever.
It has to be a big, full, meaty bite of really good fresh pecans. It makes all the difference in the world. And you cooks out there, you know what I'm talking about.
And if you've got a 10-year-old in the house, like we had at one time, we had a pecan pie once that had all the pecans missing on the top of it, stored on a high shelf.
There you go. Keep the dogs and kids away. Well, before we start talking about feng shui, Thanksgiving, and getting all into pie and everything, pie. Yes, 3.14. Yeah.
3.1415
Yeah.
926 535 897 932 684. My son and I have a contest with
Show
pie.
off.
And that's as far as I can go.
Okay.
Ending
all
right there.
All right. You just care.
I did it under pressure.
I know what pie you care about though
There you
this
go.
week.
I
But
do.
let's talk about feng shui a little bit because well, before we do that, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and what you do, and your favorite dry cereal.
There you go. Favorite dry cereal, Frosted Flakes.
Amen.
Growing
Tony
up.
the Tiger.
Yeah, don't even have to have milk. Just throw them in your mouth. My background is I grew up in a military family. We had 4 kids within 5 years. My older brother was about 2.5 years older than me. My younger brother was 15 months younger than me. We did sports all the time.
And your sister.
And my sister too. My sister and I used to bake a lot. We did a lot of baking growing up, which was fun. And my sister is, oh golly, Katie, 15 months older than me. So we had a lot of kids in a short period of time. And, I grew up, played a lot of sports, wanted to go into sports medicine, ended up deciding I wanted to go into chemistry. So I ended up being a scientist. And through the years as a biochemist, I kind of morphed into sales because I had a gregarious personality in the laboratory.
You're the gregarious scientist.
Yep. The one they can't trust because he talks too much.
Well, but Uncle Sam trusted you with chemical weapons. So, hey, that you're a cool dude. Well, so now what are you working on? Tell everybody, because I think it's pretty amazing.
Yeah. Right now my company, I work for a company called Catalent Pharma Services, and what we're doing is we manufacture basically the COVID vaccine. We do it for J&J, we do it for Moderna, and we provide the world with these supplies. And it's something I'm very proud to be a part of that because I feel like it is making a difference in the world in a positive way. And not to get political, but
Well, it impacted you. COVID impacted your family.
I lost my brother due to COVID. I had 7 of my 9 biological family members who I grew up with had COVID, and 3 of those people are no longer with us today. So for me, I take it very personal, and
Wearing a mask.
and it's worth wearing a mask.
Getting a shot.
And I know that people, it's been politicized, and at the end of the day, I'm just going to say this: it's a medical issue. If you want to be safe, wear your mask, get vaccinated. And if you don't, hey, just be careful what you do. Wash your hands a lot, use a lot of gel.
So that's good science knowledge,
It is.
And the thing about it is I think it's pretty cool that you're doing that. But also just that when we watch the news at night, Tim has worked and touched almost every drug that is on TV today. He's worked with them, helped them, drug companies develop them, bring them to market, you name it. And so that's pretty cool stuff. But as a scientist, let's fess up, Tim. Yep. A little skeptical about feng shui, right?
Oh yeah, doubting Thomases. Scientists can be very doubting Thomases. If I can't see it, touch it, feel it, measure it, it doesn't happen.
Like gravity.
Like gravity. So you would think most scientists then...
And microwaves.
Yeah, there you go. You would think most scientists then wouldn't be religious, but many of them are. So there you go.
Well, even Stephen Hawking said that once you take math out to the farthest dimension, it touches God.
There you go.
So
there you go.
So tell everybody what you thought when I first told you, hey, honey, I think I'm going to start a feng shui business.
Well, even before we go there, when you first brought up, hey, let's try some things called feng shui in the house and see what we can do, I probably rolled my eyes so much that it sounded like you were in a bowling alley.
Strike!
But I think the first time that Katie brought it up, when we were living in a house in San Antonio, and we were trying to sell it, and we just couldn't sell it, couldn't sell it. She says, I got a magazine. It recommends the following things to do from a feng shui perspective to sell the house. What do you think? And at that point, I was like, I don't really even care. If we need to sprinkle, I don't know,
Fairy dust
on the house and sell it,
under
we'll
a
do that.
moonlight.
And the thing that I noticed is that when Katie did there were several things that she did within like 72 hours.
We had offers on the house and showings.
Offers, not an offer. Offers.
Multiples, yeah.
And we've been on the market for a long, long time. I mean, it was what, 6-9 months?
It was a long time.
Yeah.
And you were in another state.
I was
and
in
so I was
another
doing this
state.
by myself.
Yep.
So you were doubting Thomas, but what convinced you that besides the house?
Well, I figured if you believed in me enough to marry me, I could believe enough in you if you're doing feng shui.
Oh, now that's a nice thing to say.
I had belief in you because you. The thing that I find about Katie is that she's never come across as so airy-fairy that she's on the fringe that it freaks you out. She approaches things very pragmatically, even though it might be something that you're not used to hearing or seeing or touching or feeling. It's always from a pragmatic approach or a process. And as a scientist, scientists like process. I don't want to say that they want...
You like practicality.
They like practicality. Some scientists want the answers before they start, but other scientists just want to follow a process or a recipe, which kind of gets us back to the holidays.
And your chocolate chip cookies.
We're getting back to the holidays, and you're in the kitchen. You follow a recipe, a process.
Right. I know that that's important to you, and the practicality portion. It's a big sell for me.
Yep.
I can win over. I remember giving a talk at Borders Books one time, and I did a big presentation. I mean, Feng Shui was just coming out, and this is in Raleigh, North Carolina, and it's a high-tech area. Lots of kind of techno geeks there and scientists. I mean, they've got Research Triangle Park.
Yes.
And all that. Lots and lots of high tech going on out there. And I remember these guys were kind of sitting at the back. They very much look like I work for a software company, and they look like they work for a software company too. I'm just gonna say they had the look. Anywho, and they're kind of like had their arms folded on their chest, and speaking of bowling alleys, I could hear
Yes.
I could hear their eyes rolling. And I said, so let me ask you there in the back. I should have been a stand-up. Believe me, I wanted to be. But I said, let me ask you there in the back. So you're doubting this. You're thinking, oh, come on, lady, this is ridiculous. I said, let me ask you, what kind of watch do you wear? And they all had digital watches. I said, what makes them work so fast? And what makes your computers go ever faster? They said, crystals. I said, oh, like I'm talking about? And I said, so we're talking about the movement of data and the transmission of information through a crystal. And I said, this is the same thing that you're wearing on your watch. And whether you put it as an amethyst geode or you put it on your wrist, it's, tomato.
It was very interesting because their whole body language changed after that.
And they sat forward.
They sat forward and they engaged and actually even asked questions after that.
They were hooked. And let me tell you, it's a really good thing and a really good feeling when you can put that practicality about Feng Shui. It's really not a huge mystery. It's not religion, is it?
No, and I think that's the problem that people get off. They kind of go down a tangent. They go, this is a belief system. No, it's like what Katie was saying earlier. Do you believe in gravity? Mm-hmm. No, but it's there.
Yeah.
Does rain fall from the sky? Yes, it does. Does the sun rise in the east? Yep. Set in the west? Yep.
So there's energy.
There you go.
And there are patterns of energy that we can rely on to keep our feet to the floor and keep us flying out into outer space. Well, do you have any fun Feng Shui stories you could share?
Actually several Feng Shui, but I'll keep them short because I could probably go 90 minutes right now. At least 90 minutes.
It's fun,
stories.
right?
Yeah, it is fun. So she had to coerce me into doing this, and she poured a lovely glass of Chardonnay to get me up here. I would say through the years, we were doing things around the house that were really interesting, and I really never ventured out and talked to people outside of our own immediate family on it. And I went on a business trip, and there's a biotech company in Southern California in Thousand Oaks called Amgen, and Amgen makes a lot of a lot of really interesting drug products. This was back in the
Biggest biotech company in the
biggest
world.
biotech company in the world. And this is back in the mid 2000s. And I remember I was in there for a very significant meeting their senior VP of research and development. And as I was walking across the campus prior to the meeting, I noticed that they had really expanded their campus in the 3 or 4 years I'd been there. And I noticed there were a lot of elements of water, moving water, stone. There were flowing, curving spaces versus square, rectangular spaces. And I remember mentally making a note, wow, they must do Feng Shui out here.
Seemed thoughtful to you?
Seemed very thoughtful to me based on the elements that Katie and I talked about. So I went into this meeting, met the gentleman, sat down. He gives me his business card. I hand him mine. And he goes, well, very nice to meet you, Catherine Weber. I didn't realize you had a Feng Shui business. And unbeknownst to me is I had one of Katie's business cards in my own business card case, and it mistakenly handed it to him. And the first thing he said after that, we chuckled. I said, I'm so sorry. Here's my real card. He goes, no. We practice Feng Shui out here. Haven't you noticed that just walking in the door? And we spent 30 minutes talking about Feng Shui and why it was important to them as a company and them as a business, even before we went into talking about them as a company. And I had a great relationship with that company for probably the next 10, 12 years. They offered me a job. They offered me a job. But I had
glad we didn't take it, unfortunately.
Long story. It wasn't a good fit, or the timing wasn't right.
The real estate crashed at that time. So it was, honestly, I think we have protected Feng Shui.
We did. And the thing that I find interesting is it was not the only company in my industry that was doing this. There were numerous companies that were doing this, and they were not what you would consider your traditional Asian, Chinese, Japanese companies. They were American-based companies that were practicing this.
That's pretty cool.
Yep.
Do you have a personal story? Where it affected you, where you felt like it made a difference for you? Obviously, besides the house that we sold and I joined you in North Carolina, but what would you say is one of your personal Feng Shui stories?
Golly, I would say now I'm on the spot and I'm blanking. But what
What about your office? Remember that one year you were dead set against me moving anything? I said,
yes.
Listen, there's a problem. We need to fix this. It's coming up. I want to make.
And as the very accepting husband, I said, no. Effing, frankly, no is what I meant.
Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
Yeah, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, no. But finally, I just noticed that it was just dead. There were no return phone calls, no return emails. She says, what do you have to lose? And I said, you know what? You're right. What do I have to lose? It was like back to selling our house. And we made some adjustments. And this is no joke. Within 24 to 48 hours, the phone started ringing. And Katie and I we were at bedrooms on the same hallway, just a short distance apart.
For our offices, yeah.
And she goes, you need to shut your door because your phone's ringing all the time now.
It's annoying me.
And it literally happened overnight. Now I have my Feng Shui bell that I ring over my phone. I ring it over my computer. I've always gone on business trips. When I'm in meetings, I sit in a conference room. I always pick the best direction for me to sit. Not at the head of the table, the best facing direction for me. Where do I want to be sitting for the optimal Feng Shui experience? And people will look at me and go, well, how come you're
Why'd you choose that seat?
Why'd you choose that seat? That's what I do. And I've been very successful as a result of it, I think.
Well, we've made our own economy, is what I've said a couple of times, is that we've created our own life and our own economies many times over. So it's been something that I think has been so empowering for us as a couple through the years, not just as a business for me, but I always say if I can make Feng Shui work in a cow pasture as a business, you can make it work for you in your home too.
Yeah, and I'll also say this too, Katie. The thing that I noticed that it gave me, I felt like it gave me confidence. If I was practicing this, I went into a meeting feeling very confident. And I think if there's one thing that people don't feel right now with COVID and a lot of things going on in the world, confidence. And they're kind of secluded in their homes. If you can feel confident about your immediate environment and what you're doing to enhance yourself, I think that's going to give you a more confident and I think grateful and a thankful approach to the world. Empowered. I think that's so important nowadays.
Oh my gosh. It is, because we all kind of I feel like we're all at this, kind of behind the eight ball, but I've never felt that way. People have asked me from time to time, when has your business been the best? Has it been in a down economy or has it been in an up economy? And I'm like, it's great in both. Because if things are going great, people want it to go better. If things are going bad, they want it to go better. You always want things to go better. And I think that's been the lesson for me is that, it's helped others and make things go better for themselves. Can you tell me what, as a man, as a scientist, what would you tell other men or spouses? Sometimes the guys are all on board, and the partner or the wife or whatever is not, and they're like, oh come on, this is a bunch of mumbo jumbo. What would you tell them as a scientist?
As a scientist, and this is where I'll relate a story. I first of all say, come on, get on board because you do this yourself. What do you mean? Most men, and I'm not saying all men, but most men are sports fanatics. And they have so many strange little things that they do that will make their team win. We saw the one, what was the Bradley Cooper movie with Robert De Niro in
Won't
it?
change their socks.
Yeah, what's the one?
Won't shave. Oh, Silver Linings.
Silver Linings. He's like, you got to sit in that seat. You got to do this. You got to wear this glove. You got to do this. Men do that all time. I got to sit here. I'm not going to wash this. I mean, I know guys that have not washed a shirt in 10 games because it's a lucky shirt. I'm winning.
Yeah. And the TV can get those vibes right through it.
And I think that same belief that they have in that, I think can fuel Feng Shui for them. If they have a very open mind about that. And you know what? If I'm a woman, I'd be looking at my man going, man, that shirt stinks. Go wash it. There's no way you're impacting your team winning.
Well, I thought you might say something about staying power. Like, here we are coming up on 32 years and 33 together in general. And, I think
it's staying power on your end, baby. I have tested her, let me tell you.
It's been the sweetest of tests. Well, let's talk about Thanksgiving.
Okay.
I got to know, what are you grateful for this Thanksgiving?
I love the holidays about being thankful. For myself, I'm actually thankful for my health. I've had a lot of health issues. I mean, I'm always thankful for us and our relationship,
sure.
And our son and how successful he's been. He's graduating from college, and
Yay!
he hopefully in about 16 days, if he doesn't, there'll be a death.
And 32 hours.
There'll be a death in South Texas. But I think health and family is really important. And I say that because I have lost 3 family members in the last year.
Yeah.
I've had a back surgery. I had a knee replacement surgery earlier this year.
Oh, and while the hotel caught on fire.
And then the hotel caught on fire. And
where we were staying when he was recuperating.
Where we were staying. And I turned to Katie and I go, I physically can't move. And I said it in pain and crying. I know you'll figure this out. And I just literally cried in the bed because I was in so much pain. This was literally, 4 hours post-surgery, 6 hours post-surgery?
Yeah, in May.
May.
No, it was 2 hours, hon.
Yeah. So I would say and I'm always thankful for Katie, our family, and just, feeling like we have we're safe.
Yeah.
We're safe. That's so important to me.
Yeah, me too. So I got to know. Now, Tim works with people all over the world, from Germany to China, Singapore, you name it. All over the world. And so he talks to them. I never know what kind of accent is going to come wafting up out of his office. He's downstairs and I'm upstairs. But it's always interesting. I some of the subjects and the topics that come out of his office through the years, frankly, have been very, very interesting. Like, how does this drug affect sperm counts? All kinds of stuff. I mean, lots of crazy stuff, but important things too. But what would you say to some of your colleagues if you could tell them, hey, everybody knows about the turkey and that kind of thing. What would you tell them? You have to have this dish. What would that be?
Oh God, slam dunk. Katie's mom has had a recipe through the years, and it's a cranberry salad. And if I told you the ingredients, you'd go, that sounds sicky sweet. I would never try it. And you would go,
disgusting.
Disgusting. But then you take the first bite and you go, can I have another one? And you have the second bite and you go, oh my God, you're hooked.
Like korme sabzi for my Iranian listeners. Korme sabzi, I make that. And it's like, I've never made a dish that someone didn't say, oh, no, I don't know. And then can I have another bite of that? It's the
too
same
strong.
thing with the
It's too
cranberry.
pungent.
It's
Yeah.
the same thing with the
Yep.
cranberry salad.
It is. I mean, it's not like your cranberry sauce. It's tart, it's sweet, it's refreshing. It's got Cool Whip in it. It's got marshmallows in it. It's got nuts in it. It's got mandarin oranges in it. It has apples in it.
And the chopped up cranberries are so tart. It's like this refreshing salad. And everybody makes fun of it and said, I'm not touching that. But that's really sweet. That'll make her day.
I hope we will. We had a guy when we were on Johnston Island when we made it. We had a party. He goes, man, can I have some more of that cranberry bean dip? And he loved it. So that's my favorite recipe, bar none. I can eat my weight in it.
So your folks in Beijing, they need to know, and Schorndorf, Germany, and
I don't know if they could get. I imagine they could get cranberries.
I mean, stuff gets. I don't know, but we've had problems with food getting places and shelves getting stocked at the store.
I would happily share that recipe. And actually, that's a recipe I'm going to share on my Christmas newsletter this year for my.
That you write every year.
I write every year for my colleagues and clients.
That's awesome. I'd have to say my favorite recipe or dish for Thanksgiving is always the cornbread stuffing. I do love that, but a very close second because we live in a rice producing area in South Texas, and a lot of people don't know about that, but we do live in a rice producing area. And that's one of the things I love is a rice stuffing. I love rice stuffing and then cornbread stuffing too. Stuffing's just not hard to dislike, really, is it?
No, I love it. I'm actually going on a diet till next Wednesday or Thursday.
Well, okay. We are about 26 minutes in, and I thought this was going to be a really quick episode, but as always, it goes and lasts longer because I love being with you. And I love spending time with you, and Tim gets to spend time with you, even though he's kind of the silent partner in this arrangement when it comes to doing the podcast. But thank you, honey, for putting it together and doing such a beautiful, beautiful job.
Thank you so much, honey. And I would hope people who listen to this, I'd really ask maybe that the TV has just been full of so much negativity. Turn it off and tune into your families this year.
Amen.
Give it 24 hours of just focusing on your family. Turn the phone off. Just really focus on your family. It's so more important than anything.
Just to be present.
It's just to be present. You need to be present with your family. That's more important than anything else.
Yeah. Well, everybody, I hope, no matter where you are, if you're in Australia, we have so many down under folks. We're thinking about you. We're thinking about you everywhere. I know lots of countries are still dealing with surges, and we are here in America. And, just gather up the people you love and have a nice meal if you can, whether it's Thanksgiving or not. That's always important. Celebrate those little moments because they're worth celebrating. And thank you so much for listening. I'm thankful to you, and I so appreciate you listening and tuning in and subscribing. Thank you so much. And to Tim, thank you so much for mixing this. You do a great job, and I'm thankful for you this year, as always.
Thank you, sweetheart. I love it. I love you, and I love doing this for your listen.
All right, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving. Love to you all. Take
Y'all
care.
have a great Thanksgiving.
The year of the tiger is coming, and I can't wait to talk with you about what all is in store. We have a clean sweep, a transformational year of water energy with the Water Tiger in 2022. That means big change is coming. No longer will we have the stricture and constriction of the metal years that we've just come out of with COVID and the pandemic. We have got a clean sweep of energy coming in next year, and I can't wait to tell you all about it in my 2022 Year of the Tiger Feng Shui forecast and success path. Stay tuned right here for a release date that's coming soon.